Hey guys, and today I'll be playing Imago Dirge, and it's about someone who's woken up as a monster. You're no longer the same person you were yesterday, and everyone knows this. Are you even still human? How does one cope with something like this? You wake up to darkness. Your body feels stiff and heavy, you cannot move. Something feels wrong. Very, very wrong. Opening your eyes? You open your eyes. You see flecks of light in an ocean of red and nothing more. Move your hands. You start small, trying to move your fingers. As you twitch your fingers, you feel them come into contact with something. It's rigid, but thin and paper-like. It breaks with a sickening crack as you forcefully curl your fingers into a fist. You finally feel the air hitting your fingers, the cold morning air against your wet hands making you shiver. It was only then that you realized you couldn't breathe. You tried to inhale, but there's only water in your lungs. Oh, struggle. You struggle with your whole body trying to claw your way out. You panic. You struggle, keep struggling. There's nothing to do but struggle. Thankfully, your struggle proved to be fruitful. You break free from the mysterious membrane, the air finally filling your lungs. Those first few breaths hurt like hell, but you're breathing and you're alive. You feel the cold morning air hit your wet body. It's cold. And as your eyes adjust to the light, you see your hand underneath you, a mass of bread with little pieces of skin hanging onto them. You feel acid rising into your throat. You stumble out of bed clumsily, like a fawn learning to stand for the first time. You drag your body to the bathroom. You puke into the sink. Disoriented and disgusted, you close your eyes for a moment before you hear knocking from the bedroom door. Rise and shine, sleepyhead. It's your mom, waking you up as she usually does. Get help or hide? Get help? Desperate for her help, you scramble for the door. You quickly walk towards the door, all the while trying to tell her what had happened. Your hand is hovering by the door handle when you realize that no voice has left your mouth. You halt, instinctively touching your face, only to realize that your mouth can no longer vocalize like it used to. Oh, come on now. You heard the door open. You slam it back shut with all the force in your body, but it's too late. What? What the hell is that? What happened? Oh no. No, 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 no. Oh God, what did I do to deserve this? What's happening? No, no, our child. A monster, no. Among the sobbing noises, you hear your dad rising from his seat and coming closer. He tries the doorknob once, and twice. You do your best to keep it shut. Hey, open up. Open the door before... Can that thing even understand us? Ouch, being called a thing by your own little sister kinda actually hurts. Open up before I knock this door down. You hear him walk away before running back and slamming the door trying to get it open. You do your best to keep that door closed, but he slams his way in anyway. It's hard to tell whether it's the fear or the aftershock of the impact that leaves your head ringing. That thing, that's not my son. What the hell is this? You stumble backwards, trying to scamper away, but he grabs you anyway. What did you do to my son? You struggle against his grab. What did you do to him? Perhaps it's the panic, perhaps it's the fear. You vermin, you. Your newborn hands barely stretch the surface of his skin. I'll kill you. Is that my brother? Surprised at your sister's words, his hand faltered and you free yourself from his grasp. You take this chance to scamper away and hide under the bed. What do you mean? This is his skin. There's no blood or anything, so is that... You watch as your dad grabs a piece of skin in your bed. You hear the rustling sound and he takes the last remnants of that human with a sorrow in his eyes and drags himself out of the room. No, my son, my poor son. What happened to him? My son, he's gone. He's really gone. So that really is... She closes the door behind her before the muffled cries start beyond the door. Cool. carefully inch closer to the door, hoping to eavesdrop on the conversation. But all you can hear is incoherent cries. And then, finally, quiet. You hear rustling here and there, enthusiastic clicks of silverware, followed by some awkward mumbling, and then a series of footsteps coming closer and closer. You quickly move away from the door, preparing for the worst. Instead, a hand holding a plate of food appears. Hey, I guess you wouldn't want to eat with us after all that, so I guess I'll just leave this here. Her words trail off awkwardly as she closes the door behind her. You hear a quiet shuffling and mumbling from outside the door, the air heavy with tension. It is not long until you hear the rattle and click of the front door, find that you can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Now that you're alone, what do you want to do? Examine the food, do some work, I guess. Examine it? You examine the plate of food your sister left behind, toasted with butter and sugar, some fruits, and a serving of yogurt and honey. However, you find that the taste isn't quite like you have expected. It tastes also bland. The yogurt is nice though, at least. However, you still find it difficult to eat, but you force it down your gullet anyway. Maybe your appetite has just been ruined after all that's happened this morning. Check for injuries. You check yourself for any injuries. Unsurprisingly, your body contains no bruises. That doesn't mean being shoved around like that didn't hurt though. Looking at your seemingly chitinous skin, you wonder if you can get injured at all. Not that you'd like to find out, of course. Do some work, I guess? Are you serious? Work? Right now? Well, you still need to turn in your research paper, I guess. But is there a point to doing this when you're probably not even human anymore? Can you even still attend college like this? Should we leave the room? Well, there's not much else to do in this room. Doesn't seem like your family is particularly excited to be around you while you look like this. So if you want to leave your room, this is your chance, I guess. Thankfully, your sister has been kind enough to leave the door unlocked. You step out of your room. This morning's event still lingered in your mind. After all that, this place no longer feels like home. What do you want to do from here? The living room. You walk past the kitchen to the series of couches next to it. On the sofa, you see the piece of molted skin left behind. Examining closely, it really looks like you. Well, it looked like you before all this happened, at least. It's a little disturbing, like seeing yourself in a broken mirror, except you can feel the texture of skin and all that. Its base is peaceful, for the most part, if you ignore its torn pieces. How do you feel about seeing yourself like this? Just leave it alone. You don't particularly feel anything, looking at the dead piece of skin. While you understand why others might cling to your old self, you think it's maddening that they hold on to a dead mold rather than just learn to understand you, who you are now. Though it is what it is, I guess. You'll find a way to live, whether you're human or not. Likewise, your family will need to learn to live with this too. You leave the molted skin where it was. They can grieve all they want, but they'll need to accept that you've changed. Either that, or you make yourself a place that will. Let's go to the dining area. You head to the dining room right next to the living room. The dishes are mostly untouched. No one would be enthusiastic about breakfast after all that. It is then you notice that the rest of your family have always had a sweet breakfast. You yourself always prefer the more savory kind, the egg with eggs and bacon and hash browns. Have you always been that different from them? There's really not much else to see here. You don't really feel like cleaning up after the rest of your family. Let's go to your sister's room. Your sister was only really kind enough to bring you breakfast. You wonder how long that would last. Was she run out of patience? Was it just an impulsive moment of quick charity? It's hard to tell how fickle her affection is, but you're still grateful for her help. You enter her room and look around for a little bit. It's tidy, eerily so. She's always been organized, prim and proper, straight-A's kid through and through. You find a small stack of sticky notes on her desk. Might as well. Even if it was a matter of convenience so she doesn't need to see you, you still appreciate her for bringing you some food when even your parents won't. Write her a thank you note, I guess. You struggle with the pen, unused to the hard surface of your skin. The claw fingertips don't help either. Still, you manage to write out a pathetic little thank, and stick it on her desk. With nothing else to do, you walk back outside. Let's go to the master bedroom. You decide to go into the master bedroom. It's neat, unlike your own disheveled room. On one of the shelves is a family photo during your high school graduation. Looking back at it makes you feel uncomfortable. You think you turn on your back like that so quickly when they lovingly hugged you like that just a few years before. You understand, of course, that you're no longer the same child that they loved and cared for. Can't help but wonder if that was just all a lie. But it is undeniable that those years were some of the happiest in your life. You look at the framed picture in your hands and contemplate taking it. Are you afraid of forgetting yourself? Forgetting that you were once human? I don't know. Let's just take it back. Nostalgia grips you as you hold a picture of your old life. You wish things weren't the way they are now. Why couldn't things just stay as they were? You take the picture with you, hoping that your family does not notice your own nor mind. Let's go back inside. You feel uncomfortable going out about like this for too long, not knowing when any of them are going to come home. So quietly you slink back to your room to rest. You bring back the framed picture and place it by your bed, feeling only slightly guilty for swiping it. Cannot help but look at it once again, that feeling of longing returning to you the longer you stare. Either way, you lay on your bed, curled like a fetus. Exhaustion takes you as you drift into sleep. You're awoken from your nap with several knocks on the door. Groggily, albeit cautiously, you approach the door, opening a small slit. Your sister peeks through. Did you write that note? You nod slowly. You move away from the door, giving her some space. She reaches for your partially eaten dishes, probably thinking of cleaning it up. She then peeks in again, staring at you for a few moments, unspeaking. It's hard to tell what she was thinking. You wait nervously for her to do something. So, do you understand us still? No, that makes sense. And at least you can still understand me when I talk. But no speaking. You shake your head, awkwardly pointing at your mouth, opening and closing it a few times. Well, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. She walks into the room with a little more confidence now. I guess I'm a bit relieved that we can communicate at least. Well, kinda. Do you remember anything? You nod once, briefly wondering if it would be better if you didn't. So, do you remember me? Of course I do. You nod your head slightly. Okay. So, you're really my brother, right? I am. You nodded once again. Is she suspicious of you? Well, granted, you look nothing like you used to, but still. So, anyway, I did ask if you could help me with my homework yesterday. You're still gonna help me with that, right? Yeah, of course. I mean, why not? Just reading through her essay, right? Squints her eyes, scrutinizing you. She quickly leaves the room as if escaping from a beast. Did you say the wrong thing? Now that she's out of the room, you are once again left to your own devices. You hear the clattering of dishes outside. Seems like your sister is doing the dishes. Usually you help her make dinner before your parents got home. But should you? Let's try to help. You peek out of the door, the sound of the door opening obscured by the sound of running water. You wait for a moment, waiting for her to notice, but she doesn't seem to notice. You walk closer and closer. She jumps in surprise when you poke her shoulder, dropping the spoon in your hand. And you too jump in surprise, knocking over a few glasses and eating utensils that were sitting on the counter. They shatter on impact. What are you doing? Just stop. Just go back to your room and late. You're making things harder for me. Just go. You flinch at her scolding and back away slowly, looking at her apologetically. She instead turns away from you and groans. She looks like she's about to cry. You walk back into your room feeling absolutely terrible. Maybe you shouldn't have done that. She should be able to manage on her own after all. That was the wrong choice. You wait around your room with not much to do. Thankfully, it wasn't long before you heard the front door opening, followed by 2 pairs of footsteps. Incoherent mumbling fills the hall outside, as does the clinking of silverware. I wonder if they'd be okay with you eating with them. Probably not after this morning's reaction. Either way, you wait in your room for anything to happen. Some sort of clarity, I hope, on where to go from here? You press your ear to the door, listening in on them in the dining room. I hope it's not too scary being home alone with that thing. You did keep the door locked, yes? It's fine, nothing happened. Is that really my brother, though? It's not your brother. No, of course not. Yeah, we don't even know if you can understand us or not. It really doesn't feel like him anymore. Is there no way to bring him back? Like, maybe if we just stop. But, like, what if we just remind him that he was human? That thing was never human in the first place. But, Dad, just stop. They eat their dinner quietly, not another word being muttered. It was followed by the sound of the door closing, then two. Feeling more isolated this morning, you start to wonder if maybe you should have reached out to your sister or something. You quietly eat your meal, hoping that nothing else happens. However, you once again feel footsteps approach, however heavier this time. Waiting for a moment and hearing nothing, you creep closer. Curious, you open the door to look. It's your dad. He steps back in surprise, and you close your door in his face in equal surprise. Talk about jump scare. Well, admittedly, that was a bit rude, but you're not exactly in the mood to talk to him. Besides, he can knock if he wants to talk. But nothing happened. How do you feel about this? I guess you're kind of disappointed but not surprised. Well, can't say you're surprised, but it sure still sucks. You shrug it off and plant your face in the bed again. What a day, am I right? You once again settle on your bed, reflecting on the things that happened today. You woke up as a monster this morning, tearing your own way out of your own skin. You don't hate this as much as you thought, honestly, but it's still one hell of a thing to wake up to. Of course, your family does not react kindly to this change. Perhaps you've seen it coming, or perhaps not. Either way, you can't help but feel bitterness building up. It's not like you asked for any of this. If anything, you probably wanted their help. But they've shown themselves to be cruel, and you can't help but feel anger. Was their affection all this time just a lie? You stew in these emotions as you stare at the ceiling above you. But no sooner than you start, you let sleep overtake you. You wake to the sound of knocking. You wake up to see your dad open the door, pushing your sister inside with a bunch of things. Breakfast? She hands you your breakfast. And I guess I'll leave this here too, I guess. Dad wanted you to have it. Places a bunch of books and photo albums on your bedside. She leaves as quickly as she enters, leaving you with all these items. What do you want to do? We eavesdrop? You decide to eavesdrop before they have to leave the house to get some context. Lock the door. What? I didn't hear you lock the door. Lock it. What if that thing goes out and rampages? You hear the hesitant click of the door being locked. Cool. So, how is he? Why don't you go yourself instead of asking me? I would, but... That's it, huh? You'd rather sacrifice me to the monster than go in yourself? It's almost refreshing to see her so sarcastic against your parents. Maisie, I'm leaving. I don't want to talk about this anymore. He's your son. You should be the one taking care of him instead of me. The slam of a door echoes. Maisie, you're grounded. Oh, now you're gonna make me stay home with him? Ha! You're a hypocrite. You can barely hear her stomping away. I swear to God, when did that kid get so rebellious? It's all because of that thing. Should have killed that thing when you had the chance. What the hell? Barely done anything else outside of eating and sleeping. What if we could turn back? What if that's really our son? Have you seen that thing? It's not human, nothing but a disgusting vermin. Let's just try this first, okay? You quietly leave. You hear the door shutting behind them. Well, his mom is actually evil. Let's just eat. You take a look at the food. Some store-bought muffins accompanied by the same yogurt and fruits from yesterday. They're really only enthusiastic about the yogurt. You already know how dry and crumbly those muffins are by looking at it. Still, you take the tentative bit off, and before polishing off the little packaging of yogurt. Either way, you place the trash into the little trash can in your room before awkwardly washing the plate in your bathroom sink. Surely it's okay to use hand soap for this. Not like you have much of a choice here. You awkwardly set the clean plate somewhere. Now what? Take a look at the items. Curious, your eyes head towards the various items your sister placed in your room. A photo album and some of your childhood favorite books. Anyway, now that they're all out of the house, you have the opportunity to look at the items. Let's look at the photo album. It's a childhood photo album containing photos of you when you were a baby, up until your graduation a few years ago. It also has photos of your little sister as well as your parents. You have curiosity to overtake you as you browse through the photos. Baby photos, photos of you making your sister cry, and a bunch of other things from your childhood. There's a photo of your sister crying after you threw a plastic bug at her. Another when you got into a scuffle and ruined her haircut. Remember getting scolded a hell of a lot after both of those events. There are school photos of your classmates from your and your sister's yearbooks. You barely remember them for save a few. There's largely left of your life now. And although you remember being close to them in your childhood, you can't help but wonder, were you only friends because you were stuck together all day? You quickly lose contact with them finishing school. And honestly, you don't care enough to reach out to them again. Can't help but wonder how they are though. What are the chances that anyone aside from you turned out to be a monster too? Can't just be you, right? You look at the last page of the album. Your graduation photo is missing from it. It's with you right here, after all. It's kinda cute that it decided to display and frame this one. Or at least you think that if only this all didn't happen. You contemplate putting the photo back in the album, but ultimately decide not to. You're not even sure they'll let you keep this once they realize that you can't turn back. It might be the nostalgia speaking, but you still want to keep the memories of the good times with you. You decide to keep the picture, not placing it inside a dresser before they notice and take it away, as with everything else. Done looking, you set aside the album. Now what? Books. You look at the books they left you. Funny, most are children's books you haven't touched in ages. Looking at it gives you a small blast from the past. Looking back, there was a point where you stopped sharing your life with your family. It's no surprise that they only have stuff from when you were still a little kid. I wonder when this started happening. It was also quite telling of how they see you, as no more than a little kid still. Did your dad think this is all you're into? You go through the books anyway, reading through them quick, and you realize, while they're good books, they don't bring you the same joy as when you were a child. It's obvious to see that you outgrown them. Either way, they do provide a little entertainment when you're locked up in here for the day. You gladly look over the books. They still bring you a measure of joy. But you can't help but feel sad when they're only here in your hands because your dad wants you to return to how you were. You almost think that you might appreciate them more if not for the pressure to return to how you were. To a time when you were, normal. A good and normal kid. If only things were still that easy. Children's books can only distract you for so long. You set them aside once you're done looking at them. Now what? Now I'm done looking. Yeah, you're done looking. You vaguely understand that he's doing this because he's hoping for you to turn back human or whatever. But you already know the fatality of that one. You look at the items, feeling only the vague feeling that these were important moments to you before, but now they're nothing more than but cute little piles of trash. Oh well, you hope that they'll take it back later. If anything, you pity him for trying so hard for something impossible. While some part of you longs to go back to how things were, that's just not possible. You set the items aside. Locked in your room with nothing else to do, you simply idle about in your room. Sure, you have plenty of unfinished businesses, but none of them really matters now, does it? With no one to talk to, nothing to do, and nowhere else to go. Isn't it so wild to think about running away, right? Still, you take one last curiously look around the room. With nothing left for now, you look towards the window. You open the window by your bed. The fenced backyard barely merging into the woods just beyond. The freshness of the air beckoning you to leave your little gilded cage. You take a tentative step out, your feet touching the ground outside with a generous thud. The fence is a bit high to climb, but it isn't difficult for your claws to dig into them. You stumble outside clumsily, for a second worried that someone's seen you. But the lushness of the forest and the feel of fresh air on your skin washes away your worries. The grass and ground and crunching of leaves all feel so good. The adrenaline rushes in your blood, the twigs and wind bouncing off your hardened skin. When was the last time you felt this free? Your claws, your armored skin, and all your heart all long to be out here. You take your time in the forest and watch the darkness settle as the sun sinks back into the horizon. But as darkness hits, fear starts to seep in. The forest is wild and unfamiliar. You know no one and nothing out here. And despite the longing, you do not know if you can call it home. You look back at the fence building, the familiar little cage. It is then you realize you have nowhere to go but home. You carefully climb the backyard fencing and was hoping to creep back inside unnoticed. And of course, things are never that easy. What do you think you're doing, you crazy monster? Oh shit, what if the neighbors saw him? We're gonna get evicted for sure. Do you realize what you just did? Are you insane going out like that? See what I told you? You can't reason with this thing. It was useless after all. You stupid piece of shit. You're not leaving this place, you parasite. Do you even realize what you just did? Don't you realize we're protecting you by letting you stay here? Why can't you just be grateful? Shouldn't you be surprised? You're no better than an animal after all. Your dad rushes past, tools in hand. Seems like they're determined to keep you in no matter what. He wins with each hit of the hammer behind you as he boards up the window. What do you think will happen if someone saw you? They'll call the cops, you know. And what do you think they'll do to a disgusting monster like you? They'll get rid of a monster like you, that's what. And you know what? Maybe you deserve it. It's done. Get inside. And this time, stay inside. You hear the click of the door followed by its locks. In the darkness, you can barely see anything, not even your hands. You barely see the crack of light from under the door. You hear the front door open. It must be Maisie. You stick your ear to the wall listening in. I can't find him. Don't worry about that. That thing came back on its own. It sure won't be getting out anytime soon. Maybe it'll be better if he doesn't come back here. Let it be someone else's problem. She's right. It didn't help after all. We can't afford to lose his house. I told you it was a lost cause. He's gone. Silence envelops the house as a foreboding feeling sinks into you. Mourning for you when you're right here. They've written you off as dead. They don't even consider you human, let alone family. This is no longer a place you can belong to. Anywhere else would be better than here. You shouldn't have come back. There was nothing left for you here. It was wrong to decide to come back, you conclude. You need to leave. You need to get out of here. Even the wilderness would be a better place than this suffocating home. They boarded up your winter window, and while you can try to pry it open, there's no way they won't hear you do so. There's still the bathroom window, though. Sure, it's a little small, but it's your best bet. You feel your way around the darkness, opening the bathroom door as softly as you can. Creep in, the faint moonlight from the bathroom window guiding you. The window's a little high up, but the toilet's right below it gives you the extra height you need to reach it. You contort yourself to try and fit into the window. The exoskeleton makes it difficult, and the gentle cracking noise alarms you, but you push through anyway. Whether it's your exoskeleton or the window that breaks doesn't matter to you. You already know that you won't leave this place uninjured. What's most important is that you get out of here alive. You land with a thud louder than you expect. You hear the door of your room opening. You run. You keep running. You run until you don't hear the screams anymore. You look past your shoulder, the house becoming smaller and smaller with every step you take. And soon it disappears from your sight. You look back one last time. A pang of longing hits you, and yet at the same time, relief. The place you called home is no more. But the world is so wide, you'll find a new one. You have to. Ending 4, run away. So, I will go back to sleep. You really don't want to deal with us right now. Your exhaustion wins over you as you drift back to sleep. And sleep you did. For a very, very long time. Ending 1, fail pupation. Your slumber is interrupted with yet another knock on your door. This time, however, it's your sister. Hey, can I come in? You step away from the door, letting her enter. You probably heard all that, huh? I'm okay now. Calm down, I think. Anyway, I did say I was gonna look this up. She hands you a piece of paper with some scribbles on it. It's tap code, easier than Morse code, I promise. Well, less memorization at least. You just gotta remember AFLQV. You tap a chord into the designated rows first, then the column. So I guess hi would be tap tap, Tap 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 H. Tap 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 I. Hi. Yep, that sounds right. You're not sure if this is better than just writing, but seems simple enough, if perhaps a bit slow. And of course, no need to fiddle trying to grip a pencil with these armored hands. Got it? Yeah. Oh, you can shorthand yes, which is K, but by the way. K? Huh. Isn't this kind of fun? It's kind of like a secret code, isn't it? Well, I guess it really is one. Well, it's a bit slow, but at least you don't have to worry about carrying around a pen or paper, huh? Thank you? Thank you. Oh, that's a good idea. Acronyms are good for this, I feel. I know, right? Now, with this new kind of method of communication, you can ask her some questions if you like. You're not scared? Am I okay? I'm fine, I think. What do you mean? Not scary? She thinks for a second, trying to understand what it is you're saying. Me? Oh, well, I guess it takes some getting used to, but I mean, I'm fine, I guess. It's not like you tried to commit murder or anything. Fair. Besides, it's kind of cool to have my bro turn into an SCP thing, honestly. Thank God you're not Keter class, I think. What? Oh, but yeah, never mind that. I'm okay. Can't say the same for mom and dad, though. They sure are taking it rough, though dad seems to think you could turn back or something. If only. I figure you would have done so if you could. Do our parents know about this? They don't know? About Tap? No, I didn't tell them. Then I don't think they'll be happy to know that I'm talking to you in the first place. Do you want me to teach them? It might make our day-to-day easier. I don't know. No. Not yet. I don't know. Gotcha. My lips are sealed until you say otherwise. Okay? I have nothing else to say. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what that means. All good. I'll go back to my room then. See ya. See ya. She closes the door behind her carefully. You feel relief wash over you after talking to her. At least you have someone who could talk to you and is chill with the whole monster thing, I guess. You're glad you reached out to her and that the both of you have found a way to communicate that's not just writing. You can't imagine what it would be like to have no one by your side. It's almost terrifying to think of. You once again sit on your bed, reflecting on the things that happened today. Thankfully, your sister seems to react a little better than your parents. She even found a way to communicate with you again, despite your current form. At the very least, it makes you feel a little less alone. You stew in these emotions as you stare at the ceiling above. Hope this is just a nightmare. Who knows, maybe you'll be yourself again tomorrow. You bury yourself under the blankets as if it was a chrysalis you were desperate to go back in, hoping and hoping that you could turn back time and end this nightmare. Your darkness claims you, words of prayer for a time long gone, never quite leaving your mouth. Where did things go wrong? How can you go back? Why did you change? Why did you turn into a monster? The boy doesn't answer. I want to go back. I want to go back. You pray, fervently, but there's no reply. Once again, you wake up to darkness. Ending 2 red dragonflies. Now that we've hidden, I'm gonna look in the mirror. Your curiosity gets the better of you. You approach the sink once more, this time your eyes in the mirror. What looks back at you isn't how at all you remember yourself. You're taller than you remember, pieces of your old skin cling onto you, barely covering the red underneath. Sharp edges and hardened fleshy masses is all you can make out of it. It's like staring at an image that doesn't make anything, but isn't quite abstract. You know you have hands and eyes and something that looks like a mouth that you can open and close at will. But that's about all you can make out of it. Gross, could be worse. And it's actually kind of cool. Okay, but looking at yourself again, can't help but think that this is actually kind of cool. Maybe you've always had some fascination with the macabre, but you find yourself almost interesting. Well, sure, it's cool in a F-type kind of way, but it's still cool. Still, you doubt anyone else will agree with you. Could welcome in misery, but we'll just get help. Honestly, not much else to do here. Maybe it's better if you just went out and asked for help. You knock on your room's door, gaining your family's attention. Here's your mother, who gets up first and approaches the door. Is everything alright? Try your best to explain to her what had happened, hoping to prepare you for this. Your hand is hovering by the door handle when you realize that no voice has left your mouth. You halt, instinctively touching your face only to realize that your mouth can no longer vocalize like it used to. Oh, come on now. And then she looks. I don't even want to look at it. Looking at the picture only reminds you of how your family treated you this morning, how easily you believed their fickle affections. You almost laugh at your past naivety. You easily smash the framed picture with your chitinous hands, the sharp pieces of glass and wood tearing the family within. You leave the pieces where they are, scattered all around. After all, your armored skin won't be hurt by it. And we'll go back inside. What a cowardly father. Ha, he doesn't even have the guts to face you anymore. Is it disgust? Is it guilt? Or something else? Either way, it pisses you off. You plant your face on the bed, waiting for the day to pass. You woke up as a monster this morning, tearing your way out of your own skin. You don't hate this as much as you thought, honestly, but it's still one of a hell of a thing to wake up to. Of course, your family doesn't react kindly to this. Perhaps you've seen this coming, perhaps, or perhaps not. Either way, you can't help but feel bitterness building up. It's not like you asked for any of this. If anything, you probably wanted their help. But they've shown themselves to be cruel. You can't help but feel anger. Was there affection all this time just a lie? He's stewing his emotions as you stare at the ceiling above you. But no sooner than you start, you let sleep overtake you. And now that we have the items in hand, we're just gonna get rid of them. The more you look at these items, the more they piss you off. Why is it so hard to just accept that you change? At this point, even if you could change, you don't really want to anymore. You already felt the hatred and violence they inflict on you for being a different person than they thought you were. Changing back would change nothing. They already know you aren't who they thought you were. It's all simply because it becomes a make-believe. If anything, you're already almost grateful this happened. At least this way, you know that their love was conditional. So pathetic, seeing your dad shove your child with items you don't care all that much about. Even more so, making your sister do it instead of doing it himself. Where are his kids to him? Little play dolls? Pawns in the chessboard? What did he think this will do? Is he hoping this might turn back into the good old obedient kid you never were? It's like you never gave a shit about trying to get to know you as a person. That past self of yours is nothing but a mirage. Nope, you're not buying into this. You're not gonna do as they want you to do. You're done being a normal human for him, for your mom, for anyone really. If they're so adamant about you being a monster, you might as well be. You tear apart the books in the album. With their sharp claws and chitinous skin, it isn't hard to do. They melt onto the force of your hand so easily. Perhaps you destroy it all, they'll stop thinking about who you were and look at you instead. Whether they like it or not, this is who you are now. Locked in with your room, not much else to do, you simply out and about in your room. Sure, you have plenty of unfinished business, but none of that really matters now, does it? With no one to talk to, nothing else to do, and nowhere else to go, it isn't so wild to think about running away, right? Still, you take one last curiously look around the room. Nothing left to do, you look towards the window. You open the window by your bed. Fenced backyard barely merging into the woods just beyond. Freshness of the air beckoning you to leave your little cage. Take a tentative step out, your feet touching the ground outside the generous thud. For some reason, you feel like laughing. No way, they really thought they could keep you locked in here. You remember how flimsy the fence felt under your claws when you escaped earlier? Well, if you're going to make noise regardless, why not just go through the main gate? F this place, you're done playing nice. They literally want you dead. Why were you playing nice in the first place? You ripped through the door with ease. Did you know? Softer things tend to bend rather than break. They're malleable and can adjust their form accordingly. But none of that matters under your sharpened claws. You sigh when their stupid screaming stops. But then you see a cowardly shadow looming over you. You hear the sound of ringing as something blunt hits you from behind. All you see is red. You already know you're not leaving this place unharmed. You face your cowardly father, shaking like a scared dog as if he wasn't the one who just hit you. He would have laughed if your mouth allowed it. Even with the weapon in his hand, with how sharp and pointy you are, it's not hard to find the soft spots. Maybe they're right, maybe you're a beast, a monster even. You turn to the last living human in this place, her face plastered in fear. To be honest, you had considered sparing her, but her terrified eyes are all you need to know. A monster. You really are a monster. Why did you ever think otherwise? Your struggles prove to be fruitful. You exhale. Those first few breaths hurt like hell, but you're breathing and you're alive. You felt the cold morning air hit your wet body. It's cold. And as your eyes adjust to the light, you see your hands underneath you. A mass of bread with little pieces of skin hanging onto them, but you're alive, and that's all that matters. Ending 3, Paracid? Arcade? So, you're really my brother, right? I don't know, actually. You stay quiet for a bit, looking away from her, almost guiltily. While you were her brother, it's hard to say whether or not you're still her brother. Are you not? You shrug. Hard to tell, isn't it? Fair. She looks at you with understanding. Well, that's okay. You seem as confused as we are. And at least you're honest about it. So anyway, I did ask if you'd come help me with my homework yesterday. You're still going to help me with that, right? Huh? Did she ask that? You don't recall anything like that. She never asked for your help with homework before. Is she testing you? You tilt your head at the question. Ah, wait, no. It wasn't you who I asked. Oh, well, that's fine. She smiled at you. A smile that makes you a tad bit uneasy, but you shrug it off. Well, either way, good to know that you can still talk, understand us. Not ideal, but we can still communicate by writing, I guess. Not being able to talk sucks ass. You tried to talk again, but your mouth is just simply ill-equipped for words. All you made were some noises. Frustrates you a bit, considering how talking used to come so naturally. Sure, there are other methods of communication like writing and body language, but they rely on having the other person's full attention on you. And not only are you not easy to look at, but it's also uncomfortable even for you. Seeing your discomfort, your sister looks at you with worry. This sucks, huh? I mean, we can learn sign language, I guess, but it requires me to actually look at you when we talk. Or you have to bring around pen and paper or something, I guess. Ugh, inconvenient. You're probably thinking it's inconvenient, right? Your sister, however, seems to have an idea. Well, if you want something auditory, maybe we should learn Morse code. No, actually, isn't that there's something easier? Wait, I'm sure there is. Let me try and recall. She leaves the room with renewed vigor. Honestly, that could go a lot worse. You were a bit surprised at how chill she was about the whole monster thing. Very stark contrast to your parents, but you're glad she doesn't hate you. Now that she's out of the room, you're once again left to your own devices. You're declaring the dishes outside. It seems like your sister's doing dishes. Usually you help her make dinner before your parents got home. But what should you do? Let me help prep some dinner. Let's hope she's more receptive this time. You peek out, the sound of the door obscured by the sound of running water. You knock on the door, getting your sister's attention. Do you need something? You point at the kitchen counter and she follows your gaze. You wanna help with dinner? He nods slightly. Well, sure, I guess. I don't see anything wrong with that. I'd really appreciate it if you could just peel and cut the potatoes while I finish washing the dishes for now. Is that okay? You nod again, making your way to the kitchen counters. It's a bit hard to grip things with your chitinous skin, this knife included. It feels weird that your flesh can no longer adjust the shape according to the thing you grip, quite the same as the way your human body did. Guess humans being soft have their advantages. The knife threatens to slip out of your hands many times, but you try your best. You okay there? You shoot her a quick thumbs up before resuming your struggles. Your nervousness, you tighten your grip on the knife, but the force only causes it to slip in your hand, falling with a clatter. Oh, that was scary. You okay? You look at her for a second before bending down to pick up the knife. Cautiously this time. Didn't realize you have a difficult time grabbing things. Why don't you handle the dishes instead? Sorry for making you go through all that. But glad none of us got hurt. That could have gone badly. You sigh apologetically and do your best with the dishes. Your claws make an awful scratching noise against the plates. Oh god, that noise. That's okay, just stop. I can't take any more. It's fine, I'll handle this for now. Just go and rest, okay? Kitchens and you are not a good mix right now. You slump apologetically and make your way back into the room. You wait around your room with not much else to do. Thankfully, it wasn't long before you hear the front door opening, followed by 2 pairs of footsteps. You can hear him mumbling. One of you okay eating with them. Oh, we still won't go out. Well, maybe your sister will be okay with it. but probably not your parents. Either way, you wait in your room for anything to happen. Some sort of clarity, I hope, on where to go from here? Your wish is granted when you hear footsteps approaching, followed by the creak of the door opening. You see your sister looking away from you, guilt in her eyes. She shakes her head slightly, telling you that your parents didn't want you at the table with them. To be honest, you saw this coming already, but it genuinely still sucks. You shrug, hoping she understands that it isn't her fault. In any case, she drops off her dinner. You eat with some difficulty. A sense of isolation and dread sipping in as you can't help but hear the clinks and mumbles outside. You press your ear to the door again, catching a semblance of your conversation. He understands us. He probably remembers us and himself. Isn't this just mean? It's not like he decided to become a monster. We all lived as a family for so long. Don't you understand? That thing isn't your brother. And that gives you an excuse to lock him up? Cool. You don't understand how my mother feels. Hey now, both of you. So what, are you gonna throw him out just like that after treating him like a son for what, 20 years now? You're gonna kick me out the moment I become anything but your ideal child too? Maisie, I'm going back to my room. Do your own dishes this time. She stomps away, closing the door with a massive slam that scares even you. The first time seeing your sister like this. It's most likely your parents' first time too. What? Well, she's got a point, you know. Maybe we would just remind him of how he was before we could stop the... Not you two. That thing isn't our son. You need to wake up. That thing was and never will be our child. You hear your mom walk away from the dining room, followed by the slam of the door. You quietly eat your meal, hoping that nothing else will happen. However, you once again feel footsteps approach, heavier this time. Waiting for a moment and hearing nothing, you creep closer. Curious, you open the door to look. It's your dad. He steps back in surprise, and you close your door in his face in equal surprise. Talk about a jump scare. Well, admittedly, that was a bit rude. You're not exactly in the mood to talk to him. Besides, you can knock if he wants to talk. But nothing happened. How do you feel about this? I guess I'm still disappointed that he didn't, come in. You shrug it off and plant your face on your bed again. What a day, am I right? Your slumber is interrupted by yet another knock on your door. This time, however, it's your sister. Hey, can I come in? You step away from the door, letting her enter. You probably heard all of that, huh? I'm okay now. I've calmed down, I think. Anyway, I did say I was gonna look this up. You wake up to see your dad opening the door and pushing your sister inside with a bunch of things. Breakfast? She hands you your breakfast. And, I guess I'll leave this here too, I guess. Dad wanted you to have it. Places a bunch of books and photo albums on your bedside. What the hell? Dude, I have no idea, okay? He's convinced that he can turn back or something, I guess. I dunno, man. LOL. I don't know this slang. She sighs, exasperated. She quickly leaves as she enters, leaving you with all these items. I guess we could just look at them again. Maybe it would have been better if he didn't come back here. Would it be someone else's problem? Are you insane? He's your son. My son's dead. You're serious? You really rather just have him dead than different? You're insane. You're both insane. It's no use after all. That thing is just... You're both shit parents, you know that? Do you even know how hard it is to raise kids? Oh, so your idea of raising kids is to lock them inside when unexpected changes happen. You're insane. Watch your mouth. Make me bitch? Who? You? What are you gonna say? That I'm grounded? Well, guess what, dear father? You're already grounded. I've already grounded twice over. Maisie. F off. Going back to my room. Those words were followed by loud stomps, topped off with a massively satisfying slam of the door. A moment of silence followed through the entire house, before tired sighs were heard. You sit in the darkness, ruminating your options. You wait until you hear your parents enter the room as you think about your options. The logical thing to do in this case is to run away, right? But considering how this escalated, you aren't even sure if it would be wise to leave your sister in a place like this. But it's not like she could stay with you either. You feel your way around the room, finding your way to the wall adjacent to her room. You make a gentle, rhythmic tap, hoping to get her attention. Thankfully, she seems to notice and taps back. You okay? I don't know. You returned? Why indeed? Some part of you already knew that if you outgrown this place, there's no space for you here. The home you know and love is long gone. I don't know. Go. She telling you to escape? Where? Any. You wait for her to say something else. Nothing comes. The house creaks and groans in the night as you tentatively tap the wall. Alright, that's that then. Pretty much agree with her. You shouldn't have to come back. But you're also a little glad you did. At least you get to tell her. And perhaps hearing her tell you to get out here gives you the confidence you need to leave for good. Think of your options to escape. You could probably tear out the planks from your boarded up window, but that'll make a lot of noise. There's a small ventilation window in the bathroom that you might fit through. Probably also break the door, but that definitely gain your parents' attention. Asking Maisie to unlock it is another option and definitely the least noisy. Still, where would you go from here? What do you need to bring? Clothes, ID cards, some money too, I guess. Aren't you glad you took that part-time job last semester? Some documents like your birth certificate are outside. You may need to leave without them. Can you rent your own place like this? Well, it's worth trying. You reckon even being out in the wild might be better than staying here. Collect what little thing you can carry with you when you hear the subtle click of the door. Your sister picks in and gives a slight nod. Well, that was easier than you expected. You peek out, looking around. The house is dark and empty, no noise from your parents. Granted, it is a little late. Your sister throws you a small bag before opening the front door. You peek inside the bag, it has the documents you were missing. How the hell did she even... Marriage date. They should have chosen something a little harder. You've been seeing her more rebellious side these days. Can't even say you're surprised anymore. Was she always like this? I guess that makes sense. Even you stopped sharing stuff with your parents a while back. So you have plans on where to go? You shake your head. She looks a little worried. You sure you're gonna be okay? You shrug. Well, it's gotta be better than staying here, I guess. Well, I mean, even if anything happens, come visit, I guess? When they're not around, of course. Honestly, I don't think they'll even look for you. I won't be surprised if an orbit ran in the paper tomorrow. Can't even argue with that. I don't get why you chose to stay. Isn't it suffocating? I can't wait to graduate so I can get my own space and get out of here. Can't believe you chose to stay and live at home when you could get to go to a college out of town and get your own place. Well, no need to pay rent and utilities, free food. You shrug again. She's right, I guess. Most people would do that, wouldn't they? If they can, at least. You were probably scared of leaving home, losing all the comforts of your home and starting again. Probably thought it's okay even if they play the role of a good, normal son every day. But it's not like there's much of a choice now. Not when your own parents want you dead. Either way, come visit if you need anything else, I guess. Mom and Dad will disagree, but mi casa, tu casa. I'll even leave the windows unlocked for you. But yeah, you better survive until I get my own place, okay? We'll both make it out of here. Yeah, we'll both make it out of here. Saying your final silent goodbyes, you look one last time at the place you've called home all your life. You hear the door close quietly behind you. You don't look back. Ending 5, leaving home. Finally a blossom out of our shell. Okay, and that is the end of Imago Dirge. So I think the premise of the story basically is like the character playing as, he finally came out of his shell and was being his true self, and his parents obviously didn't like that. His mom didn't seem to like him like at all, like from the get-go, probably since he was born. His dad was holding on to some hope like, oh, maybe he'll return back to his normal self and whatnot. But obviously both his parents are wrong. He was going to be whatever he wanted, and they hated that. They wanted to control him. They didn't want other people to see because they valued other people's opinions for whatever reason, and they wanted to keep him locked up, and probably in the hopes of like him turning back and being what he was before, like a good obedient son that listened to whatever his parents said. But he decided not to, and it seems like he was always afraid to like leave home even when he had the opportunity to leave. And yeah, so the story is just about someone finally realizing that he needed to like come out of his shell and leave his parents in his home for good. Seems like their parents were just controlling. Honestly, I can relate to the story a lot, which is why I really just resonated with the character in a way. Some people just don't leave home because they don't have the means to, and then some other people like him are just afraid to like leave the comforts of it and fail in life if they, the fear of failing, failing in life if they do end up leaving home. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Bye.